Hello everyone, I have another video for you today. I have 2 more Reddit stories. I hope you enjoy. Here is the title of the first story. I trained my dog to get me snacks. Now he's addicted to cheese balls. Let me start by saying this wasn't supposed to go this far. I didn't mean for it to turn into a full-blown household crisis. I just thought it would be funny. See, I work from home. The line between my desk and my kitchen is like 6 feet. But when you're 3 hours deep into spreadsheets and haven't blinked since lunch, that 6 feet might as well be a marathon. So, in a moment of genius, or possibly deep laziness, I decided to train my dog, Murphy, to fetch snacks for me. Murphy is a 4-year-old golden retriever with the brain of a toddler and the emotional range of a Shakespearean actor. He loves me more than life itself and will do just about anything for a treat. I figured, harmless trick, good mental stimulation for him, minor convenience for me. Everybody wins. It started with simple stuff. I'd put a granola bar on the coffee table, point at it, and say, "Snack." He'd trot over, pick it up in his slobbery mouth, and deliver it like a furry Uber Eats. I rewarded him with a little piece of beef jerky, and he caught on fast. Within a week, he was fetching stuff on command like a pro. Crackers, chips, energy bars. He became my personal snack valet. Then came the cheese balls. You know those giant neon orange tubs you get from bulk stores? I had one sitting on a low shelf in the pantry, and one afternoon I jokingly told Murphy, "Go get the cheese balls." I wasn't even serious. But the little goblin knew the word ball, and before I could stop him, he had his nose buried in the tub, tail wagging like a windshield wiper. He came back to me looking like a war criminal, orange dust all over his snout, licking his lips like he'd discovered nirvana. I laughed. Gave him a couple cheese balls. He was ecstatic. And that, my friends, was the beginning of the end. The next morning, I woke up to a disturbing sound. Crunch. 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 I rolled out of bed and shuffled into the kitchen to find Murphy inside the pantry. He'd learned how to nudge the door open and had knocked over the entire tub of cheese balls. The floor looked like the Cheetopocalypse. He was lying in the middle of it like a dragon on a pile of gold, crunching away with zero shame. I took it away, obviously. Cleaned up the mess. Told him no, firmly, in my best dad voice. He looked devastated, like I just told him Santa wasn't real. But he got over it, or so I thought. Over the next few days, his behavior got weird. He started hovering near the pantry at all hours. Whining softly. Pawing at the door like a junkie outside a locked dispensary. Any time I got up for a snack, he was there in a flash, eyes wide and tail wagging, hoping it was the snack. He began bringing me things without being asked. I'd be in a Zoom meeting, and suddenly there's Murphy, proudly depositing a spoon, or a can of soup, or my roommate's deodorant at my feet. I couldn't figure it out until I realized. He thought random deliveries might earn him cheese balls. One night, I caught him licking the side of the empty tub I'd stashed on top of the fridge. He had somehow climbed onto a kitchen stool to reach it. I'd never seen him problem solve like that before. It was both impressive and deeply unsettling. I decided to cut him off cold turkey. No more cheese balls. Not even one. I figured he'd get over it in a day or 2. I even bought him some fancy salmon jerky to soften the blow. Murphy was not amused. The whining turned into full-blown tantrums. He'd bark at the pantry door like it owed him money. I caught him dragging my hand toward the shelf when I bent down to tie my shoe. He started bringing me the tub lid like some kind of twisted peace offering. Then came the worst part, the sabotage. One evening I left my laptop on the couch and went to the bathroom. When I came back, it was on the floor, face down, screen cracked. Murphy was lying nearby, looking suspiciously innocent. No tail wag. No guilty eyes. Just blank neutrality. He'd never knocked anything off a surface before. Not once. I was convinced it was retaliation. The next day, I found my wallet in the trash. My socks in the toilet. He peed on my office chair. He wasn't just being bad, he was protesting. It was cheese balls, or war. I called my vet. She laughed. Literally laughed on the phone. Said, and I quote, "He's a retriever. They get obsessed. But I've never heard of one going full junkie over a snack food. She told me to treat it like a detox. Remove all cheese-related temptations. Give him extra mental stimulation. Redirect the behavior. She even recommended a doggy puzzle feeder and sent me a link to a dog therapist. A therapist. For my cheese ball-obsessed dog, I ordered the puzzle feeder. It bought me maybe an hour of peace. Then Murphy destroyed it. Ripped it open like a furry Godzilla and sulked for the rest of the evening. My roommate Jake thought it was hilarious. He started calling Murphy the cheese fiend. One night he filmed Murphy scratching at the pantry and posted it on TikTok with some dramatic music. The video blew up, 500,000 views overnight. People thought it was staged. Others called it a raw depiction of addiction. A few asked where they could send fan mail. Murphy was an internet star. And I was losing my mind. I finally snapped when I caught Murphy mid-heist. He had somehow managed to open the pantry door and pull over a chair to climb onto the counter. There, on the edge of the sink, was a brand new tub of cheese balls I'd bought for a party. I thought it was safely out of reach. Murphy had one paw in the tub, mouth full of orange puffs, and when he saw me, he didn't even flinch. Just kept chewing. Maintained eye contact like some kind of snack-addled mob boss. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just a funny story anymore. I had created a monster, so I did what any desperate pet owner would do. I held an intervention. I sat on the floor, looked him in the eyes, and poured my heart out. Told him he was better than this. That he was loved. That cheese balls were tearing us apart. He farted in response and walked away. I ended up hiring a dog trainer. A professional, no-nonsense woman named Carla who looked like she wrestled bears for fun. She came twice a week and worked with Murphy on boundaries, commands, impulse control. She told me straight up, "You rewarded him for performing. Now he thinks he has to perform to get the thing he craves." "Makes sense," I said. She raised an eyebrow. "You made cheese balls his god." Fair enough. It took a full month, but we made progress. Slowly, Murphy started responding to other treats again. He stopped fixating on the pantry. The licking, the sabotage, the emotional manipulation, it all faded. My sweet, goofy dog was coming back to me. Jake made one final TikTok, a fake documentary about Murphy's recovery journey, complete with dramatic music and a fake therapist interview. It hit 1 million views in 2 days. People started calling Murphy Cheese Timberlake. He has a merch line now. I wish I was kidding. It's been 6 months since the great cheese ball incident. Murphy is doing great. He's calmer. Happier. Hasn't touched a cheese ball since his final relapse in November. I keep the pantry locked now, just in case. Sometimes, I catch him looking longingly at the top shelf. His tail gives a little twitch. But then he sighs, rests his head on my foot, and lets it go. Proud of you, buddy. We've been through a lot together. Trained for convenience. Battled addiction. Achieved internet fame. And in the end, we both learned something important. Never underestimate the power of processed cheese dust, especially when it's in the paws of a golden retriever with nothing to lose. That is the end of the first story. Murphy rocks, dude. It might be a bad thing, but if my dog got hooked on a snack like cheese balls, I might give him whatever he wants as long as he doesn't become obese and get unhealthy very fast. Having a husky with a silly food quality about him is just funny to me. However, I am happy that Murphy is better now and doesn't have a cheese ball addiction. Big ups to Murphy. Let's get to the next story. Here is the title. I hacked my school's vending machine for free snacks. It gave me 100. I panicked. It was supposed to be 1 candy bar, that's all. 1. A single chocolate bar to get me through a double block of AP Physics after skipping lunch to finish a group project solo, because apparently I'm the only person in my group who knows how to use Google Docs. I didn't mean to break anything. I didn't mean to start a chain reaction of chaos. And I definitely didn't mean to become a legend, or a suspect. It started last Tuesday. I was starving, tired, and my brain was about to melt. I had 18 cents in my bank account, and no hope of surviving the rest of the day without something to keep me awake. That's when I passed by the vending machine near the library, The old one with a weird glitchy screen that everyone avoided because it sometimes ate your money and never gave change. I don't know what possessed me to try, but I figured, what's the harm in poking around? I'm not some elite hacker or whatever. I just happen to be good with tech. I like tinkering with code, building bots, messing with old electronics I find at yard sales. So when I noticed that the vending machine was running a super outdated interface, like embarrassingly old, I had a hunch. There's a trick with some of these machines. If you hit the selection button in a specific sequence, it brings up a diagnostic menu. Usually, it's just used by techs for maintenance checks. I figured maybe I could just get a look, poke around, maybe override the price on one snack. So I tried it. Tap tap hold. Press it twice. Hold B. Tap 112. Enter. Boom. Maintenance screen. I felt a chill. It actually worked. I scrolled through the options, mostly boring stuff: temperature logs, motor diagnostics, inventory levels. But then I saw manual dispense. Curious, I selected it, chose B6, a Snickers, and hit enter. Whir click. Out dropped a Snickers bar. I was stunned. It had just given it to me. No payment, no card, nothing. I looked around. No one was there. The hallway was quiet, just the hum of the soda machine nearby and the flickering light above the janitor's closet. I could have walked away right then. Eaten my Snickers. Gone to physics and probably fallen asleep during a video about Newton's third law. But I didn't, because I had just discovered a goldmine. Over the next few days I tested it. Carefully. One snack at a time. Never in front of anyone. Always from different machines. One by the gym, one near the band room, one in the senior lounge. The trick worked on every single one of them. Same code. Same outdated system, and I was careful. I took just enough to keep me fed and slightly more awake than my usual near-death state. A bag of chips here. A granola bar there. Once, a Gatorade when I thought I might pass out during the SAT prep session. I thought I was being responsible. Smart. In control. But there's a dangerous thing about free stuff. It makes you bold. And boldness is what got me into trouble. Friday afternoon. I was hanging out in the computer lab with my friend Theo, who was trying to finish a slideshow for history class while I nursed a headache and half listened to the clicking of the vending machine outside the door. I made a joke, something stupid like, "Wish I had 100 Twix bars right now." And Theo, not looking up, said, "Bro, you know how to do stuff. Just hack the machine or something." I should have laughed it off. Instead, I walked out into the hallway, pulled out my phone to look up a way to test batch commands, and returned to the vending machine. I pulled up the menu again. Navigated to manual dispense. There it was. The holy grail of snack manipulation. What would happen if I entered a command to dispense multiple items? Would it stop me? Would it cap out? I typed in A3 Twix. Then I pressed the down arrow and saw an option that said repeat dispense. The cursor blinked. I hesitated. Then, like an idiot, I typed 100, hit enter. Nothing happened at first. The screen flashed once. Then again. Then it went black. I thought I broke it. Then it whirred to life. Clunk, clunk, clunk. My stomach dropped. Clunk, 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 clunk. The machine started spitting out Twix bars. One after another. A mechanical waterfall of sugar and regret. I stood there frozen, watching in horror as the tray filled up, then overflowed. Twix bars tumbled to the floor. Some hit my shoes. Some slid under the lockers. I frantically jabbed at the buttons. Cancel. Stop. Back. But nothing worked. The machine was possessed. Committed. It was fulfilling my stupid command with the blind obedience of a robot uprising. Behind me, I heard Theo's voice. What the hell? Then the hallway doors opened. Someone was coming. A teacher. Maybe two. I panicked. I dropped to the ground, scooped up as many Twix as I could, shoved them into my backpack, hoodie, pockets. Theo jumped in to help, more out of shock than kindness, I think. The machine was still going. We grabbed maybe 40 before we had to bail. I slammed the locker shut, grabbed my bag, and sprinted down the side stairwell like I had just robbed a bank, which, in a way, I had. For the next few hours, my heart did not stop racing. I kept expecting an announcement over the intercom. Will the student responsible for vandalizing the vending machine please report to the main office? But it never came. Instead, I got a text from Theo. Dude, we're legends. I didn't feel like a legend. I felt like a criminal. Worse, I felt like someone who had accidentally declared war on the school's snack economy. The machine was reportedly still dispensing Twix bars an hour later when the janitor unplugged it. Over the weekend, things got even weirder. The vending machine incident had apparently spread across the school via Snapchat. Someone recorded the aftermath. A pile of melted chocolate bars in front of the machine, a janitor looking confused, a blurry figure, possibly me, running away like a raccoon caught in the trash. By Monday, people were calling it the Great Snack Leak. Someone made a meme of it with the caption, "When the simulation breaks and you get all the loot." There were rumors the principal was launching an internal investigation. That's when my stomach sank for the second time. See, I left something behind. In my panic, I hadn't logged out of the diagnostic menu. And the menu had a timestamp. A command history. Including the fact that someone had entered a command to dispense 100 units of A3. That someone would be me. I tried to stay calm. Lay low. Act like nothing had happened. But guilt is loud. It echoes. Every time I walked by a teacher, I imagined they knew. Every time someone mentioned vending machines, I flinched. On Tuesday, I was called to the office. My legs felt like rubber as I walked down the hallway. I kept playing dumb scenarios in my head. I was just getting a snack. I don't know what happened. It was already broken when I got there. Inside the office was Mr. Brandt, the assistant principal. He was built like a linebacker and had the energy of someone who used to be cool but now strictly lived for catching people vaping in the bathrooms. He asked me to sit. Then, very calmly, he slid a piece of paper across the desk. It was a printout of the vending machine's error logs. Right there at the top, user command, manual dispense, A3, repeat, 100 time, 3:42 p.m. user interface accessed, student admin. My login credentials were tied to that access. I forgot the machines used school-issued touchpoints. He knew it was me. I swallowed. Hard. But instead of yelling, or suspending me, or calling my parents, Mr. Brandt did something way worse. He smirked. Then he said, "You're the first person to figure out those machines could do that. Congratulations. You just earned yourself a week of detention and a job offer." I blinked. Apparently, the school had been trying to track bugs in their outdated vending systems for months. The company responsible for maintaining them was barely responsive, and the interface had been vulnerable for years. I had basically found an exploit they could now fix, and Brandt. He was secretly kind of impressed. So, I didn't get expelled. I didn't even get suspended, but I did have to return every last Twix bar. Including the 23 that were still in my locker, the 9 Theo sold for $1 each, and the 3 my little sister had already eaten. I spent my detention hours writing a full report on how I accessed the system, how to patch the vulnerability, and why they should really consider updating their machines to something made after 2009. So yeah, I hacked my school's vending machine. It gave me 100 Twix bars. I panicked. Then I became an unpaid intern for the IT department, and the subject of a dozen TikToks I'll probably never live down. But at least I'm no longer hungry during physics. Though I still can't look at a Twix without feeling a little sick. That is the end of the story. Besides nobody figuring out had it happened. That was the best outcome possible. All of those free snacks set for some help fixing the problem. That's not a bad day. I don't think you can get mad at that. The TikTok part sucks a bit. People will probably take jabs at you for that, but it will eventually pass. I hope you enjoyed the stories. There is a link in the description for my Reddit Stories playlist. Go watch them if you like. Have a great day.